Welcome back to Sunrise Daily World. Now we turn our attention to political matters. It was only yesterday that, even the day before, when the court did make that ruling about INEC ensuring that they give fair hearing to political parties before deregistering them. We're joined now by Mr. Emmanuel Mok, who is the chairman of National Transformation Party, and he was also secretary of the Inter-Party Advisory Council. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, and good morning to you guys.
Well, speaking about that particular judgment, because it kind of, I wonder how it sits in, but you're not strange. This is not kind of new to you because you've been on this for some time now. But how did you perceive that judgment when it came forth?
Sincerely, we expected it because INEC's arguments to us have always not been strong arguments. A lot of the reasons that have been proffered as qualifying reasons for the registration, even the ones in the Electoral Act, are reasons that we have continued to make clear that these reasons don't make sense, okay? And when this matter went to court, in fact, all the other political parties did go to court in another case, but that case was not properly prosecuted. But this particular case, if you remember, Fresh Democratic Party had also won their case. So this is something the political parties believe is the right thing to do. So we're expecting it.
But now, I think yesterday, the Senate also, in that amendment, they also did say, well, yes, INEC, not that the court said that they didn't have powers to deregister parties, but they also say, look, that consultation must go on properly. And then about the one for Fresh, what do you think the explanation is tenable? Because the court also made reference to that particular case in those reports that were there. So could that have been deliberate, or they're trying to wait to see how those judgments can be implemented?
INEC is waiting for the Senate and the House to finish with the constitutional review and make its powers of the registration, which are only in the Electoral Act, part of the Constitution. But I tell you, this is robbing the people of a fundamental right to associate and form political parties. Sincerely, that's what it is. You can see Fresh Democratic Party won their case about a year ago. INEC went to court, said they are going to appeal, and refused to prosecute the case. That's the situation of that, just holding on, keeping them in limbo. And that's why the judge in this last judgment actually emphasized that INEC must, as a matter of immediacy, of urgency, see that Hope Democratic Party are giving all the necessary required official recognition. As you know, INEC has given the timetable for primaries for the next elections coming. And if they continue as they have done with Fresh, then of course Hope also will not be able to participate. And the only thing INEC is waiting for, really, as I tell you, if you remember, Jaga was one of those people who they put forward that proposal that there be only two political parties, that let the space have only two parties. But I tell you, two parties put Nigeria in the hands of power brokers. That's what it is. If you see the fight in Hong Kong today, the party, let's say now PDP, the ruling party in China, is telling the people of Hong Kong that anybody who is going to be a candidate to election must first be vetted by us and approved. Now, what that means is that for that person to be a candidate in Hong Kong, that person must be satisfied, must be somebody that satisfies the views of the power brokers in the national party in China and the government. Okay, and the people of Hong Kong are saying no. These people, even though they are leaders, they cannot be the ones to decide for the nation. They cannot decide for us. Let the candidates present themselves to us and let's choose freely. When you by officialdom determine the number of parties, then you of course know. Take like when we had SDP and NRC. You have a situation where somebody is, by whatever reason, elected to be chairman and the leaders of one of those two, or those both parties, and these leaders have so much power in vetting the whole political space and deciding those on the candidate, those are able to be presented to the people. But in a situation where you have a free entry space, it therefore means that people who pay no allegiance to any power broker are able to come out and present themselves to the people. So my view, sincerely, is that this matter of the registration, and let's just like the one of Hope Democratic Party that has been done now, it's necessary to leave these parties, especially when you don't fund them. No party wants to lose an election because no matter how small a party is, its candidate is going to spend money, even if it's just to print flyers. And that's spending his own money. Since 2009, when, at least for my party, NTP was registered, INEC never gave us 1 penny. 1 penny. For all the political activities I have done in the public space, I've spent my money or contributions of party members. Okay? So if you are not spending public money, these parties don't spend public money, professional people come out and bring, in fact, one of our candidates was a retired principal who spent part of her gratuity because she wanted to go to the state assembly. She believed so passionately in this. On the day of election, people will come to us as we're going around monitoring the election. On the day of election, people will come to us and say, Auntie, or Chairman, won't you people give us something? This party is giving 2,000, that one is giving 1,000. Even if it's 200 you give us, we know you are good. Do you understand? But still on that day, just to pay our agents at all the different polling booths, we spent almost ₦1 million that day just to pay our agents. And this is private money that people collated together and the candidates won. So it's actually a disservice to the nation for people who want to serve to come out and then you take the carpet from under their feet for no reason.
But now that the Senate has approved the conference committee's reports on the review of the 1999 Constitution in the National Assembly, doesn't that change the equation because they have approved the independent candidacy? What does that do to this whole thing?
You see, yes, independent candidacy is a good idea. It's a good idea. From the way it was put first in the Electoral Act before for independent candidacy, it was going to be a very expensive enterprise for anybody to put himself forward as an independent candidate. In this new dispensation, one needs to look at how it would work, how the candidate can be independent, because in a place like Lagos now, you can decide if you want to be an independent candidate for government, you can just take Lagos and work on it, or your local government and work on it. That will make a lot of sense. I agree with that. But still, that will not take away the fact that it's better for the polity for you to have multiple political parties. The fact that the party does not win an election does not mean that party is not relevant.
But there's a cost to it in terms of organizing logistics for elections.
That's the party's one. For INEC, that's for government.
Yeah.
I mean, they are going to do the same thing. They don't do anything more. They don't do one thing more. There's nothing more they do, other than the fact that more people will be needed to monitor primaries. That's all. That's the only place where INEC will say they spend more. But of course, INEC gives a certain amount of time for monitoring of primaries, a month, 30 days. And so you can find groups of people going to, telling the parties to schedule their primaries in such a way that INEC is able to monitor it. But if you talk of printing of voter cards, you're going to print the same quantity. If you talk of printing the forms, you're going to print the same quantity. If you talk of inspection, you're going to do the same. As long as you are doing the same, what does it cost you? And I tell you, even if it costs more money, it pays more. It pays us to open the space so that the best candidates can be there in the public space. You see, our people are poor. Because of poverty, they are accepting present-day satisfaction for votes, for giving their votes. But you see, as over time, different state executives perform. Those whose state executive did not perform, and the people remember they collected money from this person, maybe there was a better candidate they could have voted for. You will find that at the next dispensation, as long as the election results are free and fair, you will find that the people begin to learn their lesson and would soon stop collecting rice and bread and money for their votes and begin to vote incredible candidates. Look at the transformation in Lagos here. It's because of the candidate. But go to, go to Abia State. You would, I don't see, it's possible PDP might even lose Abia because the governors have just not performed in that place. Look at Lagos. Go to see what Oshomola is doing in Edo State.